Yes, it's Charlie Danger, private detective. Charlie Danger, defender of the Constitution. And now, Charlie Danger, private detective.
Hey there, boys and girls. I'm Wild Bill, and I just rode into town. Look out, all you bad guys out there. I'm fixin' to blow the whistle on all your evil plans. On tonight's show, I'm going to be interviewing Charlie Danger, Shurelock Homes, and Jane Cannery. Now, this is a recording of an interview I did with these guys, and the reason we did it like that was because we didn't want to be sitting here doing an interview and then have the feds come crashing in here and tearing up the place. Okay? All right? This is a recording, all you feds out there. Okay? So, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Okay, here we go. They've been classified as dangerous domestic terrorists, and they've been demonized in the media. They've been chased all over the country, and so far, they've succeeded in eluding federal authorities. Okay, this is an exclusive Samsel Report interview with Charlie Danger, Shurelock Holmes, and Jane Cannery. So, I tell you what, let's just go ahead and dive right into it, okay? All right, welcome to the show, Charlie Danger. You've been blamed for the Motel 6 bombing. Is that true? Huh? Huh? Sure. Just like a guy in a cave on the other side of the world blew up the World Trade Center. It's a frame-up, pure and simple. Ooh, man. So, you're saying you had nothing to do with it? Absolutely. Boy, oh boy. Who would you say was responsible? How would I know? Maybe it's the same people who were responsible for beating up Ron Paul and dumping him off in our motel room. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. The man did disappear, and it's been all over the news lately. But go on. I'm surprised they didn't try to pin it on us. Wait till you hear about the note. Tell 'em about the note, Holmes. Why, certainly. You see, the reason the congressman was deposited in our room was to deliver to us a letter written on official stationery and enclosed in a White House envelope. Its contents, without going into detail, ended with threats of death should we persist in our efforts to thwart their agenda. The letter was signed by none other than the internationally renowned master criminal, Professor Mariachi. Look out. So, you're saying that Mariachi or some other person or persons in the White House are responsible for abducting Ron Paul? Precisely. Oh, man. And you say you guys had absolutely nothing to do with blowing up the motel and all those soldiers and equipment? Huh? Huh? Exactly.
We were all sitting across the parking lot in our Winnebago watching the whole operation. The feds were crawling around all over the place, but the rooms were vacant. The explosion took place as we were pulling out of the lot.
It's quite apparent that the explosion was set and triggered intentionally to create a terrible incident that could be blamed solely on us. As to who is responsible, I cannot say as yet with certainty.
Oh, man, this is incredible. And now you're being attacked and threatened and pursued for the evil crime of standing up for America. Now, tell us, how did you first get involved in all of this?
That was the day Jane came waltzing into the picture. That's when the bullets started flying. When the dead bodies of our founding fathers started showing up. That was something I just couldn't ignore. I didn't go looking for trouble. I got dragged into this thing.
Boy, oh boy, how so?
I found the bullet-riddled body of Thomas Jefferson in my office. And what do you think I found clutched in his cold, dead hand? It was the tattered remains of the Constitution of the United States of America.
These people know we have it, and they'll stop at nothing to get their hands on it. Because ultimately, they want to destroy it. We've been running for our lives ever since.
What a bunch of dirty, rotten scumbags. Shurelock Holmes, do you have any comments?
Since my first encounter with Mr. Danger, I would have to say that I've been dragged right along with him, so to speak. It most certainly has been a revealing experience.
Now tell me something. You guys infiltrated and raised havoc at the Bohemian Grove, did you not?
Yes, we did. It turns out the place is a stinking cesspit, albeit a high-class one, where the criminally deranged elitist perverts meet yearly to run around naked, take part in satanic rituals, and plot against the interests and well-being of every single red-blooded American citizen. Believe me, what goes on there is disgusting.
Okay, all right. So, what do you have to say about the lies and propaganda that they spout about you guys? Huh?
They're going to do and say whatever they have to in order to deflect the blame onto someone else. That's how they operate.
You know what? These people are nothing but dirty rats. And so is the media. Just look at these headlines, okay? All right? Here, the New York Times. Charlie Danger, the American Bin Laden. Huh? Huh? Here, the Washington Post. Charlie and Jane, the new Bonnie and Clyde. Okay? All right? Here's the cover of Time magazine. Shurelock Homes go home. Now, huh? How do you like them apples?
We don't.
And that's not all. Obama says you guys are a major threat to national security.
Rachel Maddow says Obama should put us in Gitmo and throw away the key.
Chris Matthews says we should be stood up against a wall and shot.
I tell you what, the mainstream talking heads are demonizing you guys all over the media. And they don't stop there. Oh, no. They're even attacking Lassie with their stinking lies and propaganda. Well, we're not buying it, see? Because we know what you criminals and your mouthpieces in the media are all about. You people make me sick. You think you can say and do whatever you want, no matter how criminal it is. And you think we're all so dumb and stupid that you can get away with it, huh? Well, you're not going to get away with it no more. That's right, I've had it with you people. And you're not going to have your way with us, okay? All right? You got that? You're nothing but scum. Dirty, rotten scum. You're not our masters. We are not your slaves. You got that? You got that?
Yay!
All right. All right. I'm starting to go off on a rant here, so I need to settle down and get back on the subject. Okay? Sorry about that, guys.
Think nothing of it. It's quite understandable, old boy. After our interview with Wild Bill, we took a cab back to the airport where Willie Phleye waited with the Goonie Bird. It was all fueled up, engines running, and ready to go. Holmes and Jane and I stepped out of the cab and into the aeroplane, and within minutes we were in the air and on our way to sunny Arizona. Now hold on to your hats, 'cause I'm gonna take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about Willie Phleye and the Goonie Bird. Flight Commander Willie Phleye, the owner and pilot of the Goonie Bird, flew Thunderbolts in the Big One and Sabre Jets in Korea. In between, he flew flight tests at Edwards Air Force Base, and he hung around with Chuck Yeager. In the 50s and 60s, he flew for TWA. If it had wings, old Willie Phleye flew it. If it had wings, old Willie Phleye flew it. Old Willie flew it. Back in the 70s, a relative of his invented the mood ring, and Willie backed him financially. The mood ring came and went, but it left them both with a fortune. Later on his 40 acres out on Long Island, he collected airplanes, automobiles, and lots of other things. He would spend his time fiddling around. You see, Willie loved to tinker. In fact, he had tinkered up a number of improvements and modifications to the mechanics of the Goonie Bird. It hadn't taken him long to put two and two together and figure out our game. My Elvis impersonation had been the tip-off. So we took him into our confidence. Turned out he knew about the New World Order and was an avid listener to Revolution Radio, as well as Awake Radio US and Awake Radio UK. The guy knew his stuff. He'd been following our alleged escapades in the alternative news networks, and he supported us 100%. We talked it over and decided to ask old Willie to be a part of the team. The old boy got all fired up and said he was ready, willing, and able to join us in our efforts. It would be much easier for us to have our own private airplane to fly around in, and it came complete with a colorful, although somewhat eccentric, chauffeur. Besides, we had plenty of dough, so we could afford it. As the Goonie Bird climbed ever higher into the sky, we all felt like we were sitting pretty. Everything had turned out swell. We were all sitting as pretty as you please as the Goonie bird winged its way into the sunset. We'd lost the disguises and settled in to relax and take it easy and enjoy the ride. Jane and Lassie were already asleep, and I was on my way. Holmes had become infatuated with a handheld remote control. It operated a 48-inch TV monitor that retracted from the cabin ceiling. It also controlled an AM/FM shortwave unit, as well as a wireless internet connection. These were just a few of Willie Phleye's most recent additions to the cabin's appointments. I was just falling asleep myself when a rock came smashing through the window next to me, and it landed on the floor. Now, how the hell did that happen? A most unusual occurrence. And look, there's a note attached to it. I picked up the rock and retrieved the note. Listen to this, Holmes. I read the mysterious note aloud. Dear Mr. Holmes and Charlie Danger, I have built a command bunker in the Arizona desert. From there, I shall be able to fully coordinate and control the achievement of the North American Union plan. The facility will soon be operational, and I shall be the keynote speaker at the grand opening. Know as well that I have been heavily funding La Raza and the Reconquista movement. I am not only funding them with taxpayer money, I am also acting as their political action supreme advisor. I also command an army of Mexican gangs and drug runners. I direct the ongoing construction of the NAFTA superhighway, and I have a direct line to Washington, the UN, and the U.S. Border Patrol. I am telling you this because there is absolutely nothing you can do to stop me. Your efforts are futile. At any rate, you will soon be dead. It was then that Lassie woke up and started barking.
What is it, girl?
She started jumping up and down and acting crazy.
I think we're about to get shot down.
I looked out the window and noticed a black fighter plane with Mexican flags painted all over it. It was flying in formation with us just off the starboard wing. We got company, I said. My God, it's a Messerschmitt, cried Holmes. In a flash, he was headed for the cockpit, and I was right behind him. Willie Phleye had took control of the Goonie bird and taken evasive action.
He pulled around behind us,
Jane yelled from back in the cabin. The next thing we knew, tracers were flying past the windows and slamming into the airplane. Phleye took evasive action. He winged the plane over and dove off and around. Still, the Messerschmitt stayed right on our tail. Again, tracers rushed by us as others tore through the tail end of the plane and perforated holes in the wings. Phleye pulled up and to the left, and the fighter shot right by us. Take over for me, Holmes. Just keep her straight and level. Holmes grabbed the wheel, and Phleye jumped out of the pilot's seat. He pulled a lever marked emergency on the wall, and suddenly a door opened overhead, revealing the installation of a fully retractable turret armed with a strange-looking new weapon. What the hell is that? I asked in awe.
That, Mr. Danger, is a high-powered, variable-intensity laser beam weapon. I tinkered it together last winter. The turret's off an old flying fortress.
By that time, the Messerschmitt had come around and was on our tail again. Once again, 50 caliber bullets were mercilessly pounding into the Goonie bird. Holmes struggled to maintain control of the plane. In a flash, Phleye jumped up in the turret, swung it around, and fired the laser weapon at the Messerschmitt. Like a bolt of lightning, the laser beam shot out and sliced the black fighter plane in half. Both pieces began to tumble towards the earth, and the pilot hit the silk. As we watched him going down, we all breathed a sigh of relief. But we sure as hell weren't out of danger yet. Both our engines had quit, and we were going into a nosedive.
Everybody get on your chutes!
Yelled Phleye as he jumped back into the pilot's seat.
We just might have to bail!
I stumbled back into the cabin. Jane and Lassie had their chutes on already.
We're going down. We might have to bail.
Jane was as white as a sheet.
It's Mariachi. He said he would kill us.
This ain't time to lose your head, baby. We'll make it out of this mess.
No, no. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down.
Meanwhile, Phleye had pulled us out of the dive, but we were still going down. Holmes came back from the cockpit.
He's going to attempt to land. Everyone take a seat and prepare yourselves for impact.
He didn't have to tell us twice.
There's nothing but barren desert down there.
We don't have much of a choice.
Hold on.
The plane hit a sand dune and bounced, violently jarring us in our seats as everything loose went flying. Again we slammed into the ground as glass shattered, metal bent, and dirt and sand flew everywhere. Boom! We hit again, and then started sliding. The sound of scraping and grinding metal filled our ears. And then suddenly we came to a stop, and the silence and the stillness was deafening. Phleye climbed through the cockpit door.
Any landing that you can walk away from is a good one in my book. Welcome to Arizona.
The Goonie bird had come down in the middle of a desert nowhere. There was nothing but scrub brush, prickly pears, and saguaro cactuses all the way around for 360 degrees.
Phleye stood atop the fuselage and scanned the horizon.
Ah, that was one hell of a landing,
said Jane as she and Lassie came walking up to where I stood.
Any sign of anything?
I yelled up to Phleye.
I can't see a blasted thing, except for more desert.
Holmes emerged from inside the fuselage and saw us standing there. He walked over and joined us.
The electronics are all out of service. We've no way of contacting anyone for help.
Looks like we're up the proverbial creek, if you ask me. I'd say we're in for a hell of a long walk.
but it's well over 100 degrees. We'll fry out there.
Unfortunately, we've got no other choice.
At that moment, it was true. we'd escaped death at the hands of an assassin in the Messerschmitt, only to find certain death as the burning desert would dish it out. How long could we survive with no water and no food? How long could we survive the burning heat that beat down mercilessly on the land and turned a goony bird into a raging oven? We were staring into the jowls of death, and it had a bad case of halitosis. But you couldn't tell that from the look on Willie Phleye's face. He climbed down from atop the fuselage onto the wing with a great big smile on his face.
We're sure having a hell of an adventure now, folks. I ain't had this much excitement in a long time.
Jane looked at me and shrugged her shoulders.
In case you haven't noticed, we're stranded in the middle of a desert wasteland.
The old man looked at her and laughed.
Why, sure we are. As long as you just stand there flapping your yapper.
He jumped down from the wing.
Follow me, youngsters. You just might learn something.
He disappeared inside the fuselage and emerged a few moments later with 2 big suitcases and a toolbox.
I bought this thing as surplus from the McDonnell Aircraft Company back in 1957.
He said as he dumped aircraft parts from the suitcases and tools from the toolbox.
It's called an XV-1 converter plane. No, back in 1954, they built 2 of them. It's sort of like a helicopter and an airplane combined. It never saw production, but I bought one of them at a hangar sale. Yeah, and I threw it in the storage compartment, and I forgot all about it.
You gotta be kidding me. And you're gonna put this thing together?
You folks ain't seen nothing yet. Just give me 30 minutes and we'll fly this whirly-bird right out of here.
Professor Mariachi had called another meeting. The entire NAU program was falling behind schedule, and he was determined to get to the bottom of it. He banged his gavel down on the conference table. A hush came over the room as the 12 attendees all took their seats. Mariachi waited for their total silence, and then he began.
I am extremely disappointed in the lack of progress being achieved in the NAU program. I distinctly ordered that the doors be opened to illegal immigration and that every means to encourage and increase the mass movement must be undertaken. I have just been informed that Charlie Danger and Shurelock Homes have once again escaped the ingenious trap that I have laid for them. However, it is of no consequence. They cannot hope to interfere with such an elaborate and well-planned operation as has been devised by myself and my associates. If this project fails, it will be due only to your own incompetence. Where is my NAFTA superhighway? Where are my Mexican trucks? Where is my comprehensive immigration reform?
Why isn't Spanish being taught in every classroom in the country? Why aren't more illegals voting? I want an explanation as to why this program is falling behind my strict timetable. How are we to achieve North American Union without flooding the entire country with an adequate number of foreign nationals? Now, either you idiots get on the ball, or I shall have you replaced. Do you hear? Now, get out of my sight, all of you! This meeting is adjourned!
Yes, you've been listening to Charlie Danger, Private Detective. Tune in next time for the next exciting episode of Charlie Danger, Private Detective.